Hello everyone. In today's podcast, me and two of my friends from Xbox delve deep into paleo history from early Triassic all the way to late Cretaceous. Yes, in today's podcast, dinosaurs. Who saw that coming? So sit back and enjoy this amazing 2 hours and 32 minutes of us ranting about big old stupid lizards. Enjoy. Hello everyone, this is Drake's podcast back after a very long hiatus. Drake's podcast, you guys get all the good news and juicy content that you guys crave for. So, with this podcast, we are doing the topic of dinosaurs. Who saw that coming? So, as the title says, the podcast is going to be about dinosaurs, and I have two special guests with me, two of my friends from Xbox. Go ahead and announce yourselves.
I'm Luna. I through a college I do wildlife biology.
I'm Mo, and I just hang out with these guys. What's I say? I don't have a career.
Thanks, Mo.
Good job, Mo.
You're welcome. I don't have a career.
You'll get there.
Anyways, yeah, these are my two closest friends on Xbox. Although we've been through the thickest of thins, we've played so many games. Me and Luna, we are actually pretty well knowledge on dinosaurs, especially me, since my whole entire life I've been working on becoming a paleontologist, but due to circumstances, thank you. That's a hard word for me to say.
This is why Luna's the grammar person in this.
No, that's not.
Yeah,
that's Silas.
The grammar Nazi.
Yeah, he is a grammar Nazi. Anyways, due to the circumstances, I could not become a paleontologist because my my scoring for college. Anyways, but I am here with the knowledge, I guess basically just knowledge.
Knowledge.
It's all you got. It's just
that's all
the
I got.
knowledge.
I'm really well educated with dinosaurs.
Got the facts.
Luna, like he said, he's studied biology and wildlife. I know back then, Luna, you wanted to actually go to college for what was it, paleontology, but you changed your course.
Yeah, I was going to go to college for paleontology, but just like you, my scores weren't high enough. The nearest college for me was Harvard, and I'm not Harvard smart. I'm just regular smart.
Yeah, that's the common thing that happens with a lot of us.
Smarter than me, at least.
And then we have Mo over here. Mo, you're still in high school,
In
aren't
high
you?
school. I'm a
Yeah,
junior
you're still in
high
high
school.
school. Yeah. So, anyways, how I would like to do this podcast, we'll start it off. We'll start off like just talking, casual talk and all that. So, if you guys got anything to say right now, it would probably be a great time before we get into the hot, juicy topic of dinosaurs.
I'm totally not playing Gmod in the background right now.
Mo, god damn it! I need your full.
I am full focus right now, trust me.
But you're playing Garry's Mod in the background.
What?
I got my small talk out of the way before I started recording. I didn't really have much.
Gotcha.
Just testing out some stuff I got earlier. Give me a second.
Anyways, did you guys see the new Hellboy trailer?
I did not see the new Hellboy trailer, no. I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, there's a new Hellboy coming out, and it's about the Crooked Man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting premise.
The Crooked Man is actually one of Hellboy's old comic books back in I think it was 2008 or 2008.
Something like that.
And what I know about the new Hellboy movie that's coming out, the script is being written by the writers of Hellboy, so that's a plus. So
that's what you want to see.
Yes. The downside, the director that's doing this has made some not so well movies.
You'll always have directors like that. Even Steven Spielberg's got some flops.
That's true.
Funny.
But the movie is being made by Ketchup Entertainment.
I don't know that studio.
Yeah, no, and a lot of people don't know that studio because they make like small. I think they make small indie movies, but they're not really that popular.
Like an A24 kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
The director that's doing the Hellboy movie made Ghost Rider: The Spirit of Vengeance, the second one.
Oh, okay. I have seen that.
Yeah, so you could kind of see where the budget's going to.
Yeah.
Anyways, the actor, I don't know much about the actor. I think he was in a few things, but the makeup, the costume and the makeup doesn't feel right to me. And this is also the thinnest Hellboy we've seen on screen.
The thinnest?
Let me look him up real quick. Hellboy 2024. Oh no, he's been on screen, right? Like I could find a picture of him.
Yes.
Oh my.
I'm assuming Mo just saw it.
Probably.
No, I just died to something really weak.
Oh, okay.
That's lovely. Glad you're still playing a game.
Yeah,
While we're doing a podcast.
I'm getting off of it.
He does look kind of little.
I know, right?
What am I looking up now? What am I looking up?
I just looked up the actor for that Hellboy movie that we were talking about. He's not very big.
What's his name?
Be Hellboy. I don't know the actor's name. I just looked up Hellboy the Crooked Man. Got what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's something about the nose is throwing me off. If they didn't make the nose so big.
Yeah, it looks like a guy at Comic-Con dressed as Hellboy. It doesn't look like that'd be official Hellboy.
It doesn't look like an official. A YouTuber did a review on, or already did a review on it, and how he described it was it looks too clean.
Yeah, I can get that. I see that.
Yeah, that's bad.
I mean, but the makeup, the prosthetics, it's properly applied. Unlike the previous Hellboy, where you could see the lips, the lip seal splitting.
You can see the seams.
It
Yeah,
looks
you
like
can
a
see the
guy in a
seams like
body.
splitting. Yeah.
Let's see a guy in a bodysuit.
I've been focusing more on the new Jurassic Park game that's coming out eventually, and the movie they announced a little bit ago.
Yes. That's a perfect little side topic. That there is a new Jurassic Park game coming out, Jurassic Park Survival. You play as a certain.
Is it survival or survivor?
Survival.
I thought it was Survivor.
I've been saying survivor for
It's
6
survival.
months.
Yeah, it's survival basically because you're surviving on the island of all these dinosaurs. Which
I swear it was Survivor because I remember it not like flowing smoothly. I remember it being difficult to say.
It is Survival.
Yeah, it's survival.
Return.
Maybe I'm just a weirdo.
Villar, the day after they met, a beloved 1993 Jurassic Park film in an original adventure.
The game I believe takes place like right after or during the first film.
Yeah, Mo just said it. It takes place right after the first film.
I think it's like within 24 hours of right after. Like it's
Yeah,
that
it's
close.
like the day
It's
after.
the day
Uh,
after the events of the beloved 1993 Jurassic Park film in an original adventure.
Uh,
Yeah,
I didn't catch you say the day after.
yeah.
I said that a few
Um,
times.
but no, yeah. There's a few things I already have questions about the game. One, there's more than one raptor.
In the, it's got to be like some weird, like its canon has to be unique to it because they have some stuff from the movie, which you'd expect, but also from the book, like there
There's some
being a
nice
ton of
graphics.
raptors.
I'll say that. Some really nice graphics.
I don't remember what is in the movie. It's only like three or something. But in
So
the
if I remember
book, there's a
correctly,
lot of them.
there's a total of four raptors. One of them being the big one.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
the big one. There's the one that there's the
Demo
two that
Down.
fight
Rex.
the T-Rex at the end, and then
there
there's
was three that
one more that
fought the
gets
Rex, I
locked in
believe.
the freezer. Three of them fight the Rex? I thought only two of them did.
Yeah, there was
Three in
three
the
that were in the visitor center.
yeah.
One of them's in the
Two in the
Is that including the one in the freezer or excluding that one? Is that number
Excluding
4?
that's number 4.
Okay,
Which
that's so that that's
I
number
don't
4.
remember
Dead right now.
because it's been thrown around which one is which. People have said the last raptor to die was the big one. The one in the freezer is the big one. But it's really confusing because like they all are pretty much identical. The only way you
Yeah.
could tell which one is which is from the scene
Size
where
difference.
what?
Size difference.
No.
I mean, with the big one, but that's it.
Yeah. The only way that we know which one was which is from the when Robert Muldoon died off scene or not off scene.
It's like super up close.
Yeah.
The right before he dies is like super up close. You can see it.
Yeah, there's like that little the snake that's slithering on the branch, and then you see the raptor's eye. That's supposedly the big one because it was coordinating the other ones.
I don't remember how many I try to remember the list of in-gen dinosaurs and like how many there were. I know there's 2 Dilos. I think there's 4 displayed raptors, and there's supposed to be 2 Rexes according to the book. There's the Rex,
Yeah.
and then there's another smaller one.
Yeah.
Where is Buck and Doe at? Well, during
Those are on Isla Sorna. That's a different island.
Isla Sorna is Site B, the island where the dinosaurs were originally bred.
scary place.
Sorna is a part of the Cinco Muertes, which is the 5 deaths. Which I can never get all the names. It's Sorna, Tacaño, Matanceros, Muerta, and there's one more that isn't Nublar. Nublar's a ways away.
By the way, audience, if you hear my AC in the background, I'm terribly sorry. I have no control over that.
It's the summer and
yeah, it's summer.
warm.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Especially I'm in the basement.
Monteseros, Isla Muerta, Isla Sorna, Isla Tocano,
Peña.
and Isla Peña.
That's what I was missing.
Yeah.
I was missing Peña. But yeah, there's the 5 deaths, which I think InGen comes to own at some point. They definitely own Sorna. But then they also own Isla Nublar, which is like it's somewhere else in that area. It's not a part of the 5 deaths. So there's 6 islands.
But I'm pretty sure after the San Diego incident, the government or the Costa Rican and American government now owns, or the American Costa Rican cooperation group now owns the 5 death. And
They at least own the 5. Area. They don't own Nublar, clearly, because that becomes Jurassic World.
Well, I'm pretty sure Mizrani bought it.
Yeah, I guess that'd make sense. I know at least in like where they're at with the lore now, whatever Masrani's company is owns Nublar, and I don't think any other island. I think just that one.
But I know Mizrani's company actually hired some engine, or I hired engine to retrieve some of the dinosaurs off of Site B and disrupting the natural inhabitants.
That would make sense.
Supposedly, after they did that, after they took several dinosaurs off of Site B, it disrupted the habitat so much that basically kind of like a plague went over the island.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I mean, and supposedly, this is like unconfirmed canon, basically.
Yeah, we're getting pretty thick into it.
Yeah. And also, I would love to make a quick shout out to a very wonderful group of people who are working on a lovely project called Jurassic Field Guide, and it's got like some solid information from all the movies, especially from one of my most favorite games, and also one of my most favorite Let's Plays, Jurassic Park Trespasser. If you guys haven't seen it, please go down in the link in the description. You can watch it. It's wonderful. You hear me screaming a lot. It's a blast. It's very fun.
I still need to watch that.
Mo, do you know what a trespasser is?
No, I don't.
It was it's I don't know the story very well. I know it more based on the mechanics because I looked into it when I was still trying to be a game developer in college, because it's got these weird mechanics where the guns are like physics based. So it's like trying to control a guy. It's sort of like trying to control a guy from Totally Accurate Battle Simulator.
Oh,
it's kind of like that. It's not quite that bad, but it's kind of like that.
I can pull up the description that I did for my video.
That game's absolutely broken now, and no one can play multiplayer on it anymore.
Interesting.
Because me and another guy, Winter, another close friend of ours, tried.
Yeah.
And did not succeed.
But yeah, one of the Trespassers is also a very controversial game. As Drake probably knows, the health system in that game was
by looking down at a tattoo shaped like a heart, and you're playing as a female character.
Yeah, it's a tattoo on your left breast, and I think it's like the darker it gets, the lower your health is, or something. It's been a long time since I played.
The heart is transparent, and the more damage you take, it turns red.
Oh, okay. So the more it appears, the
yeah.
The same which channel is this going under?
This is going under my Primo Drake. This is my. I
was gonna say this is going into his. I'm not recording this.
Yeah, this is mine.
I know. I was asking him which channel and give two. Remember? That's what I was asking.
Oh, the other one's all Halo content, which I need to start uploading some shit on there.
Drake. When did I missed that? Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, A Trespasser was rushed to release to meet its film counterpart, The Lost World Jurassic Park. Sadly, due to its rush release, the game had many problems, such as graphical problems, AI issues, crashes, and even having puzzles being unsolvable. To many, Trespasser is a failure of a game that time has forgotten.
So, that way after.
Trespasser game you're talking about.
Ooh.
There it is.
That
looks really old.
Yeah, it came out in 1998.
Oh
my
God.
Older than Drake and I are. I just like closed my browser.
Good job, Luna.
Trespasser, if I remember right, because we talk about it when I was in college. This was a long time ago for this. They use an AI system, which is why the AI wasn't great. It was very early on, where it's meant to be like adaptive. Oblivion actually has a similar AI style where just things will happen in the world outside of your knowledge. And I don't know the issues with Trespasser, but in Oblivion, there was an issue early on with the AI where it would the skeletons are one of the hardest hitting enemies in the game, and you just have hordes of skeletons walking around just killing entire towns.
Dude, what?
Yeah.
This sounds crazy.
I know Trespasser uses the same AI, but like way earlier version of it, so it's probably worse.
So Mo, here's a really fun fact about Trespasser. The game's physics were pretty well done. I will say that the physics on a game that old, Half-Life 2 had the developers of Half-Life 2 had inspiration from this game to put it into their game.
That's a very influential game, not just in like the Jurassic Park lore, but also just game making in general. It was very revolutionary in a lot of the things they tried to do, like the physics system. Nobody had tried physics like that before.
Especially during this time.
That's why there's such a cult following for that game, because it did things nobody else had done yet, like the physics system, and it's got aspects of the story they don't include. I don't remember the name of the tribes that live on Isla Sorna and Nublar, but they're mentioned again in Jurassic Park the game. Yeah, there's like they're kind of like Aztec Mayan civilization sort of thing.
So in my Let's Play through, or in my run through in it, there was some audio that would have popped over the video and all that, but I didn't include that. I just wanted it to be me just playing it without interruptions. But in the actual game, John Hammond talks over some parts, and especially your character talks as well.
It's the original actor for John Hammond, right? In Trespasser?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's Richard Attenborough.
I keep thinking David Attenborough. That's somebody else. It's a different. I think it's his
David Attenborough is Richard Attenborough's brother.
Wait, we're talking about John. Who? John? What's his face?
John Hammond is
John
Richard
Hammond?
Attenborough.
Isn't that the guy that narrates Jurassic Park Evolution?
That's the Welcome to Jurassic Park guy.
It's
he says Welcome to Jurassic Park in every Jurassic media ever. The dude with the cane and the hat. He goes into the trailer and he steals the champagne, and Alan Grant's like, "We were saving that,
you asshole."
You don't remember?
Let me just search his name. I feel like I remember.
It is mind blowing. You don't know who John Hammond is.
I'm actually kind of surprised that he's like one of the most iconic movie characters that you could list off.
You hear a sound? I'm about to open another Dr. Pepper. Just don't mind me.
I forgot I have a Pepsi right next to me.
But
Luna, am I weird for drinking Pepsi warm?
No, because I'm drinking Dr. Pepper warm.
Okay, Dr. Pepper warm is actually pretty cool.
I don't. I wish I could remember the name of the. You know the tribes I'm talking about.
Oh, excuse me.
The that sounded like the noise that Alan makes with the resonating chamber. I don't know. It sounded that way. To us, it sounded like you just tried to call a velociraptor.
That's awesome.
But the tribes they mention, not so far, not that important to the story. But in Jurassic Park, the game, there's the Hispanic lady. She's one of them. I don't remember the race's name, and I hope it's not real people because I don't want to like upset anyone.
I was thinking of Malcolm.
You're thinking of Ian Malcolm.
Sorry.
The one guy that John Hammond hates.
I really hate that man.
He in the book he expresses it even more. I've definitely read Jurassic Park more than I've seen it. Not that I haven't seen it a ton. So like some of the stuff I'll say might not be canon. I might be thinking
I'm actually
book
having
stuff.
I'm having some like lag issues right now because I
For the
keep
people
thinking
who
it's cut out.
are watching this podcast, I'm sorry. I'm kind of like messing around with the. There we go. Oh shit.
Like if while we're talking about Jurassic Park or whatever, I mention a second T-Rex. The movies I don't think has one in the first movie. I think it's just the one.
It's just the one. Yeah, it's
It's the
the
second one with the
Raxi. As we all know, it's Raxi.
Yeah, she has a name. I believe they refer to her by name at one point.
wasn't Rexy in Jurassic World
Yeah.
technically?
Yes. Yes, she was.
And oh my gosh, Mo, I'm so glad that you brought that up. The debate when Jurassic World came out in 2014, everyone was freaking out, saying like, "Oh, it's Raxi, it's Raxi." But then there were the people who said, "It's not Raxi. Look at the difference. It's not her." And I was like, I wanted to slap those people who said that because, one, what else Rax could it be? And well, first they fed her exactly how they fed her in the old park,
With a goat.
with a goat and a flare.
Ah,
And second, you can notice the scars from the velociraptors on her neck.
I actually
I
didn't
believe.
notice that until like after the fight with Indominus.
I think
I
you're not gonna be old enough to remember this, Mo, but before Jurassic World came out, they had like basically like a mock website for Jurassic World that you could go online and see. I think they mentioned it that on it that the T-Rex was one of the original ones roaming the island after the Jurassic Park incident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I Drake, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? Like the quote unquote official Jurassic World website.
Yeah.
It'd show you like
which
the
now
list of
I think is like
dinosaurs.
gone.
Yeah, there's no way that's still up. I bet if you use the Wayback Machine, you could find it.
I have a question.
Okay, so that's another topic about there with the Wayback Machine is that with the Wayback Machine, it has to be constantly viewed. If the website is not constantly viewed, it won't come back up. Because like I've tried looking up old YouTube videos that I remember when I was like a little kid, and they're just gone. So I try to use the Wayback Machine to rewatch those videos, and it doesn't work.
Huh.
It's because that content was never viewed that many times for it to become part of the Wayback Machine. So like if like you're watching like Markiplier's videos, 100% they are all on the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a question.
Oh, what's your question, Mo?
So what happened to that baby Rex on the second movie?
Okay.
So grew up probably.
Yeah, but where?
Okay, so
that's a good question.
Now this is another debate. This is a lot of what fans of Jurassic Park have been saying is that the bull that we see in the third movie is Junior, but if you look at the colorations, they're not really the same. But bringing back Jurassic Field Guide, wonderful group, they described that the male T-Rexes have a more jungle color to them.
Yeah, I could see that.
Now,
males do
to be honest, I don't know where Junior is. A lot of people say that he was killed off by the Spinosaurus in the third movie. That was him. Others say that he is still living with his family. But now, with Jurassic World Dominion now out, spoilers for people who have not seen it. At the end of the movie, you see the buck and the doe meeting with Raxi for the very first time.
So they're still around.
I've seen that movie and I don't remember that part.
It's literally like 5 seconds.
Is it post credits?
It's not post credits. It's literally at the end of the movie. Like Luna, if you look it up on YouTube, it's right there.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Same thing.
Anyways, here's a little side note for the viewers. I've added a few little things on our little podcast tab. My logo and like, comment, subscribe. And while they're watching it, I can talk to you guys for a little bit. The reason why I stopped my podcast, one, I was going through a lot of mental issues. My previous work was absolutely draining the life force out of me. It was a toxic environment. The co-workers were awful. The manager was terrible, was a tyrant, and I was generally unhappy. So that's why I kind of stopped everything.
He sounds good to me.
Yeah, let me disconnect and reconnect real quick.
I watched the clip a couple times. I wanted to see if you could see the youngest Rex, the child, but it doesn't appear in the clip.
Yeah. Should be good now. But
Yeah,
I did see the clip. It looks nice.
Yeah, we really don't know where Junior is. Junior might be still on Site B. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Or, maybe some extreme headhunters or like poachers got him or something like that.
He's in the walls. He's in the goddamn walls.
Anyways, after that wonderful side topic of Jurassic Park, I think it's time for us to move on to the real topic. Dinosaurs.
Yeah, order.
So, how do we want to start this?
I don't know.
Well, let's start at the beginning.
The beginning. The Permian. No.
5 million years ago.
The Permian era. No.
Why is my TV so loud all of a sudden? For the bulk of this discussion, Mo, you'll probably be like the stand-in for the audience. You ask questions and stuff.
Yeah,
and you're welcome to chip in.
You're basically answering or asking the questions that the audience will be saying to us right now. So I guess
clearly not everyone's going to have the knowledge.
If only we had a chance.
Yeah. Did you know that that before the Triassic era there was a total of 3 extinctions, mass extinctions?
I knew there were 2. I didn't know there were 3.
There are 4 mass extinctions around the world, or in the world.
So
that'd be
the first
the
mass,
3, and then
first mass extinction was, it was 2 before the Triassic extinction. No, it was 3.
The Black Plague was the last one.
No.
I mean, it's not.
I believe
not extinct.
That's not an extinction. We're talking about like half of the life on Earth has been eradicated.
I mean, 75%.
The one in the Cretaceous was like 90% or something ridiculous. Like
Something
most of the
insane.
planet died.
But anyways, the first mass extinction, since Earth could not maintain a stable rotation and climate got colder, basically all the oceans froze. It was the first mass extinction, and it was the first ice age, basically.
I think I don't know too much pre-Jurassic period.
I don't like so. Pretty much everything
before so
Triassic is pretty fuzzy for me. I mainly focused on the Triassic all the way to the Cretaceous era. So the first mass extinction was basically the whole entire ocean froze. No life could survive unless they were in the deep ocean. where no light could penetrate. And then the second mass extinction was because of algae.
Because of algae, huh?
Algae?
Yes, algae.
Interesting.
And this was the extinction of what is it? I think it's the Devotion era. Devonian era. It was the Devonian era where Moe's. I think this is one of Moe's fascinated creatures is the Dunkleosteus.
Ah!
The Colossus, the
Yes.
big armored fish.
The big armor fish with the like the chainmail breaking jaws.
How big
There
was
was a
it
big debate about that.
really?
Like
About
yeah,
that,
like
where it's
we all
either
know
armor or bone.
from like chasing with chased by dinosaurs, with
Good.
Nigel Marvin. They described that Dunkleosteus was able to break chainmail with its teeth. Like we don't even know if that's true or not. But
That kind of thing could be, well, I was gonna say it could be measured, but that'd be tough to do with a fish with that much bone in its face.
yeah,
You'd have to find soft tissue scars.
yeah.
There
So
was-
so during that time, the second mass extinction was because there was I think it was plankton and algae. Plankton was abundance. Nothing was able to eat plankton, and when they died, they released algae and all that, and basically algae took over the ocean and basically suffocated all life in the ocean.
Nothing at the time. Nothing could eat algae because it was all like the giant sea creatures,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
That's when you got the.
There was no plankton eater.
Dunkleosteus
There was no
and
algae eaters. Nothing like that. So
the thing that's like an arthropleura, but it was in the water. The big like water millipede thing, and like the big water scorpion lobster guys.
yeah. I think that was a little bit before Dunkleosteus, though.
Was it like they were all like big bugs, but they were in the water? And then at one point,
what's that
I think
scorpion called?
I have no idea. I don't remember. I don't. That's before
Something-
my knowledge.
It's
And that's
I know what you're
something
talking
Scorpio.
about and all that, but I have very few knowledge on that.
It's something
think-
Scorpio. I know that.
After there was in that period, there was like all these big bugs in the water, and then I believe in the Permian we get big bugs again, but this time on land. It's the
Round
DLC.
I think
Land.
I think that's before the Permian.
Hell divers in a nutshell, right there.
Is that still before Permian?
I think that's still before Permian.
Well, no,
let
that
me,
is hell divers in a nutshell,
Quickly
right
look
there.
it up here.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna look it up too.
You thought the bugs were gone? No, they're back. What?
That's not what I want.
We'll just pull up something completely
No,
different.
the
than
Permian
fucking-
era was listed at 299 to 251 million years ago. This was the time era where Dimetrodon was alive.
Dimetrodon.
It was
Yeah,
like
I
the beginning
was-
of the Triassic era.
I was thinking of things like
Carboniferous.
Arthropleura.
Nickname: Waddly Boy.
I think it was the Carboniferous or carbon. Yes,
I'm gonna ask a question.
the
The fans might ask us.
the Carboniferous era, which was because there was a lot more plankton, or it was more plentiful in oxygen.
Yeah,
It was also the age of the amphibians.
the entire world was just super rich in oxygen at the time.
So
which is
insects
why,
grew 10 times the size of what
yeah,
they
just
are
all-
now.
Whole life was
Dragonflies?
huge.
All into the skies, man.
Yes,
back
dragonflies
during that time.
owned the skies. We're talking about centipedes that were as big as your car, and
You'd get things like Arthropleura that were like 10 feet long centipedes, and dragonflies had like 1.5 foot wingspan. Like
tarantulas.
everything was
Lizards were
so
put back into
big.
the water
and so like,
back into
and this was
small
also the
land.
beginning of amphibians. This was the beginning of amphibians.
Yeah, this is where you see things that would have been ancestors of today's like Japanese giant salamanders and stuff, like just
The
these
Yes.
big
big,
boys.
gross-looking
You know,
amphibians.
I'm glad you said something about the Japanese giant salamanders. Um, for everyone
Sure,
that
stop
does
at me,
watch
left.
this, for everyone that is watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, I highly suggest go looking up the giant Japanese salamanders. Sadly, with the giant Japanese salamanders, they are on the endangered species list. They are slowly becoming extinct, and they are the last living proof of prehistoric life. And I really, really do not
No,
want
no,
them to
no.
go extinct.
There are fish in
Uh,
the deep sea that are
one
also
of my most
over
favorite
them.
YouTubers, uh, the Gaming Beaver, he is trying everything in his power to save their lives because he now lives in Japan. And
Another
Back on that.
another like famous person that's doing work for the Japanese salamander. I believe he's still doing it. Is Forrest Galante.
yeah,
He's another wildlife biologist, way higher up than I am. But yeah, he's doing work for the salamander and for some other like seem to be extinct species like the thylacine and stuff.
but yeah,
He's,
I believe that there is a website that you can guys go to. If I can find it, I'll leave it in the link in the description. Um, and you guys can go to that website. And if you just donate, like even $1 would help. And this is not any kind of like promotional or anything. This is not me trying to promote or being sponsored by anything. This is just an urgent thing. Why did my phone go off?
Giant salamanders, please sponsor us.
But
for
no, really,
for people that go on.
no, it's like, but please, the world needs these guys. I feel like they're the last missing. They're like the missing link between our prehistory.
You
Or
know
people
there
that
are
don't
fish. Let finish first.
for people that don't know how donating to like wildlife foundations and stuff works, as someone that's worked in that like field, essentially if you donate to a wildlife foundation, somewhere that I do a lot of work with, for example, is Panthera, which deal with the big cats of Earth. Your money will go towards things like being able to fund like treatment if the animals need medication, or like the ability to research them or house them. Your money goes towards like taking care of the animals. Most of those people that work there they're not paid. They're all volunteers that just want these animals to remain, because it'd be horrible in my line of work. It's horrible to think that it's possible to have to see my grandchildren and be like, when I was your age, there were these big yellow cats with these thick manes. They don't exist anymore, but they were so cool. And so donating to even a zoo, even if you donate to your local zoo, that money will go towards helping the animals. It does not go towards any people. It goes straight towards like funding equipment, funding the ability to feed animals, how to take care of them. It all goes to
Medication.
animals. That's how that kind of thing works.
Yeah. So, yeah, like donating even $1 would help. So,
Every little bit does something.
yeah. So now let's go back. As I said, the second mass extinction was the algae, and then the then the next one was the volcanic eruptions across the whole entire world, which was the end of the Devotion era, or I think it was
Devonian.
not the Devonian, the Permian. The Permian era to the Triassic.
This is where dinosaurs come into existence. This is where they start.
This is where
The big
dinosaurs
lizards appear.
begin. And by
the
the way,
true beginning of dinosaurs.
I think since we're still on the topic of the Permian era, I think we should talk about synapsids.
Yeah, we can talk about synapsids a little bit.
Yes, because a lot of people don't know what a synapsid is. So,
It's definitely
I
outside
found
of
out
my
the hard
realm
way.
of like deep knowledge, but I do have some knowledge.
I'm right now. I'm currently studying on synapsids right now.
Aren't they part of
Yeah,
like early mammalization stuff?
they were
So,
early reptiles with mammal-like traits.
some people believe that synapsids are actually the missing piece between the evolution branches between reptiles and mammals.
They could be they were. I believe synapsids it's like a category of animal. It's not like one specific thing. Like I believe Dimetrodon is in that category, but
Yeah.
there were these reptiles that didn't seem like reptiles. Like they didn't have scales. They had like skin, like a thick skin, and they had very mammal-like traits, despite being cold-blooded for the most part,
So,
like reptiles are.
a perfect prehistoric animal to describe this features was well, you probably would know this gorgonopsid.
That, yeah, I know that one. I was trying to think of his name.
Yeah.
What
So
am
it was the
I?
Genopsid. It was Gorgonopsid.
So that is one synapsid that uh, really describes what mammal and reptile would have looked like if they were put together.
Wasn't
Really
the
well, it's not just two.
No, never mind. I was gonna ask about an animal, but no, that's post dinosaur, not pre dinosaur.
Oh no. That's
Weirdly,
where my
like
that's where my information kind of goes a little fuzzy there.
before dinosaurs, you had these reptiles that were very mammal-like, and then after dinosaurs, you had these mammals that were very reptile-like. It always like goes to a similar vein. Like you had synapsids pre-dinosaurs, but then
and,
post-dinosaurs, you
like
get to like
it almost kind of sounds like if evolution was trying to do a Kickstarter, basically
yeah,
trying to jiggle the keys in their ignition.
evolution tends to repeat itself. Like you have so we've got big bugs, and that goes towards that gets us towards synapsids, and then in the Cretaceous we have big bugs again, which then leads towards things that are basically synapsids, but the other direction with the I don't remember the name of it, but like that big killer boar and hyenodon and like very very reptile like mammals.
Yeah.
The dire wolf? No, not the dire wolf.
Daedon.
That'd be
Daedon. I think it was Daedon. No, Daedon is someone else.
The direwolf would be in that like era, but
But
they
no,
didn't really
I
have
know what
the
you were talking
reptile-y
about.
traits.
You're talking about the hell pig. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember its scientific name.
Is it
Giant
Daedon?
Pygdicus.
I think it's Daedon.
Gigantus Pygdicus.
Pull out.
I think you're right.
Let's see.
Can I ask
Daedon.
something real quick? So,
No, yeah, I'm right.
earlier we talked- Oh,
I'm just that good.
That's fine. Oh, sure.
But yeah, the animals after dinosaurs they just weirdly they were mammals because this was after dinosaurs all died out. Mammals started to really take over. They started out very small, like squirrels,
And
and then
there was a short period where reptiles did rule.
yeah, they when mammals were like getting to really rule the world, they're very small. It was like a squirrel, and then seemingly out of nowhere, they got really really big. Stuff like hippo-sized. Like mammals got huge,
Yeah.
and even now we're on the downward slope that hasn't ended because we still have things like rhinos and hippos and just these giant animals that are way bigger in person than you'd think they'd be.
Yeah.
The elephants.
Whales. Kind of.
Not so much whales. More
Whales
more
are
like land
aquatic
creatures.
mammals.
Anyways,
Yeah,
we're getting way ahead of.
We're too far forward.
Yeah, we're going too far and fast in time.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
We haven't even discussed Triassic.
I know.
I'd
Yes.
like to say something real quick. I'd like to say something about a fish. So earlier on the topic of the salamander, right?
Yeah.
I think it was
Okay.
like one of the last pieces of the old time. Scientists found a fish near Japan that dated back to the earliest dinosaurs. So I don't want to do
Oh,
that.
you're talking about a coelacanth.
That I couldn't remember its
The
name, but like awesome something.
So
The
Really old
coelacanth,
fucking fish.
coelacanth is one of the most oldest fishes currently living in our time, but I think there's only like a very few that have been discovered. Um,
Maybe they live so far down. They live so far down the ocean. That's why.
um,
The cave.
coelacanth is one of those very few rare occasions, like just like the horseshoe crab.
Goddamn crabs.
Well, no, like
the
the horseshoe.
giant
Yeah.
the giant isopod is another one.
Yes.
Oh my god, those
Um,
things kind of freak me out a little bit.
they're one of the very few cases of slow evolution, is what I call it. It's where
Sharks are the same way.
sharks are
They
the
evolve
same
very
way.
slowly. They've been almost exactly the same forever.
It's only like
Same with the
during the Triassic all the way to the Cretaceous, sharks kind of like took on different forms, like
Sharks were bullied through their
Helicaprion.
lifetime. Oh my god.
crocodilians are similar too. They've been mostly the same.
With very few occasions
We-
like Sarcosuchus and Caprosuchus.
My two favorites, by the way, other than Dino.
Postosuchus.
They still they still looked similar. They were just
They still
they
had
had weird
distinctive
traits.
features, but they took on different traits.
Like the Sarco being just like unimaginably big. Like I can't think of like what a big crocodile would be today, but
There
a
is-
Sarcosuchus
there is a-
was
Basically a
just like
15-foot long
it'd be
gator somewhere in Florida.
it'd be mind blowing if a crocodile was found today to be Sarcosuchus size, because it had a head alone like 7 feet long. Just Sarcosuchus was just
That's a big croc.
insanely big. Even for
Big croc.
crocodilians, it was huge. And another one with the unique traits is the Caprosuchus, which is basically like if you
Or
mixed
croc.
a wild pig, a wild pig and a crocodile.
Now,
They were-
What
there was a prehistoric crocodile, and it made its first appearance in any kind of social media. What is it? Oh yeah, Sumosuchus.
Sumosuchus. I've not heard of a Sumosuchus.
Sumosuchus
Wait, did he
is
have, like,
a
points on the back
small.
of his head?
Sumosuchus is a small Madagascar crocodilian, which only ate plants.
I see it. Yeah, he looks like how you would imagine Yoshi to look, like baby Yoshi from Mario. He looks like that.
Well, and that is not. There's no way that's a crocodilian.
Anyways, with slow evolution, it's where a species do not take drastic changes over time. For instance, trilobites have been the same for ever since
basically.
like forever. They've been the same. They have never changed their design whatsoever. And that's what I believe that with like coelacanth and horseshoe crabs and all those other ones, that's what slow evolution is. It's where they don't take drastic changes to adapt to the environment. They slowly evolve into the environments.
I have a feeling we're gonna do a Q&A someday.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if one of my podcasts ends up being a Q&A, so I would be really surprised about that.
Also, a clarifying question: the Dinosuchus is the biggest of them all, right? Prehistoric wise.
The
Dinosuchus,
Dinosuchus, whoever pronounces it. I
think
don't.
Sarco's longer, but I think Dino's heavier.
Sarco.
I think
Sarco's
Dinosuchus is the biggest. I say wise, or at least it has the most mass. But I'm pretty
Yeah, it's
sure
definitely
Suchomimus beats it with
heaviest.
length.
A Suchomimus is another Suchomimus.
Not Suchomimus, Sarcosuchus.
We're talking about alligators, not.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna.
I'm sorry. That's another. Those are two examples of names that I get confused with one another, and yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get you. There's
I'm sorry.
some prehistoric prehistoric creature names have some insanely close names that are just so hard to distinguish from.
Tarbosaurus and Tyrannosaurus.
Okay. The Dinosaurs was 8 to 10 meters long and weighed around 2,500 to 1,500 kilograms. That's
a big croc.
That is a big croc. That is a big croc.
Sorry.
So anyways, now I believe we should move on to the topic of Triassic.
Hold on,
So,
I wanted to
let's get to the
let's get
we need to actually
to the time of dinosaurs.
we need to get to the dinosaurs in the dinosaur podcast.
Okay, not saying the Sarkel was the largest ancient crocodile ever. This is my opinion.
So
I'd say
Triassic
it's the
era.
longest.
So the Triassic era. This was the beginning of dinosaurs, but there were still some other creatures around that could have. This was basically the race who could dominate the Earth. I believe
They were definitely not.
I believe it's actually
kings
called the,
yet.
the Great Evolution Race. To Triassic era, it's the Great Evolution Race.
Lizards won.
Dinosaurs at this point were very like smaller creatures. Typically, they definitely didn't rule the Earth yet.
To list off
That comes later.
List off a few dinosaurs that I know that were in the Triassic era. Silphysis, Plateosaurus, and I think Eoraptor was another one. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Eoraptor?
I think Eoraptor.
Eo.
I believe Eoraptor also is Triassic.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Eoraptor.
This is why we're on our computers, people. So I can access the search engine.
Yep, late Triassic. So
Yeah.
it's like they have the epitome of it.
Late Triassic is typically where the dinosaurs show up, and the thing they all have in common mostly is, for the most part, they were all carnivorous or omnivorous. There weren't really strict herbivorous dinosaurs yet, and they're all very little.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like chicken to dog sized, typically.
Just for the pepes.
Like for instance, looking at Eoraptor right now, it's like it's literally about the size of like a Great Dane. Not a Great Dane,
Yeah.
like a German Shepherd.
Yeah, they're
That's
not
still horrifying.
big yet. You think that's horrifying? Wait till we get to Cretaceous.
Oh yeah.
The Gigoraptor.
So another great example of a dinosaur that people are still debating that either it was a dinosaur. Oh wait, no. Herrerasaurus. Herrerasaurus was during the late Triassic and was becoming more of an apex predator. Now, the reason why a lot of people were questioning about Herrerasaurus being an actual dinosaur is that its skeleton structure has a very similarity to crocodilians.
I believe Herrerasaurus was one of those cases of in the Triassic. So it goes against the trend of the time. They were pretty big for Triassic dinosaurs and had very, very dense bones.
Hey, the Dino's bigger than Sarker. Come on.
Okay.
Norman, look at something else.
Okay, so Herrerasaurus is actually one of the cases of a Saurosuka. I think that's how I say it, or Saurochucha, or something like that. Is one of the two basic diversions of dinosaurs classified by their hip structures. Saurosuka and Orthrosuka were originally called orders by Harry Seeley in 1888, though today most paleontologists classify Saurosuka as an unranked clade rather than an older.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Saurosuka is basically a classification of by their hips structure. Yeah.
For Mo, when I say that they had very dense bones, most dinosaurs did. To give a reference, so Herrerasaurus was like a big dog size, like Great Dane, a little bigger than that. But it was like 1,000 pounds.
Big dog.
Like they were very dense. Based on fossil evidence that I have seen through like colleagues of mine.
Let's see.
Um,
Herrerasaurus, mass 770 pounds, length 9.8 to 20 feet.
Yeah, that's not huge for a dinosaur. Well, for the Triassic, that's enormous. Well, it's very heavy. It's not. I guess it's kind of big too.
So
Um,
they were pretty.
But
they were bigger creatures.
I have a question about
Alright.
sauropods.
It's
actually,
kind
real quick.
Yeah.
about sauropods.
Sauropods. Wasn't there
Okay.
a theory, or I think a debate, whether saying the Austrian sauropods, the hatchlings, were omnivores for a minute?
Well, you
That was
sound like you're
probably
far
a
away.
theory. Yeah,
It
did
might
you
be
get
right
further away?
Yeah, it's
No,
like
it's
like
right next
during
to
this
my
whole
head.
entire podcast, it's been sounding like you've been like sliding
Oh.
away.
Yeah.
Guys,
It
help,
sounds like
everybody!
you're on a computer chair and you're just slowly getting across the room. You're slowly getting more and more hollow sounding.
No, I haven't moved. I'm sitting in my reclining chair right
Oh.
Like you're
Well-
trying to grab something across the room and don't want us to notice, so you're just really slowly going to get it.
Yeah, guys, I'm listening. Yeah, guys, I'm listening over here.
Okay. Let me look up another dinosaur during the Triassic.
You didn't even answer my question. That's fine.
Plateosaurus.
To answer your question, yes, it was probably a theory, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it holds a lot of water. Kind of like the we'll
Thank you.
get it more in depth when we get to that point. But the hatchet bite theory is another theory that, depending on who you ask, holds no water.
Yeah. Another example of the late Triassic era was Plateosaurus. One of the very first. People say it's the first sauropod, or at least an evolutionary branch of sauropods. Plateosaurus was one of the herbivores that were like not like super big. Like for instance, is maybe the size of a small car.
It was one of the very few examples in the
13 to
Triassic
33
of an
feet.
herbivorous, really just herbivorous creatures didn't really exist for the most part yet. Obviously, they did in some sense. It's not like veganism hadn't been invented yet, but
They kept their diet
yeah,
open.
most animals they could digest meat, whereas Plateosaurus was one of the first that really couldn't do that. It had to eat vegetation.
Yeah, right here. Plateosauridae is one of the earliest branches of sauropodomorphs.
Yeah. It was a sauropod, but it didn't it was small
Have the
enough
size
to
of it?
be able to it definitely more than or less than half. It was still small enough to be able to rear up on its hind legs,
So basically,
despite being a sauropod.
How if the old documentary of Walking with Dinosaurs, how they describe that Coelophysis and Plateosaurus, those were the two branches. They were the godfathers of dinosaurs. Basically, they were the tree that grew the fruit
Basically, yeah.
of the dinosaurs. Now, evolution-wise, maybe that's not true, since like paleontology has grown so much since when Walking with Dinosaurs came out. A lot have changed from design-wise and looks. For instance, we now know that a lot of dromaeosaurids, in case you don't know what dromaeosaurids are, it's Utah, Deinonychus, Velociraptor, all those.
Your
the
raptors,
Cyclops.
basically.
The raptors, basically.
Yeah. Dromaeosaurids basically had feathers. We already now know that for a given fact by the indents in their bones.
For the most part.
For the most part. The indents in their bones and some of the fossils that have discovered feathers on them. So, but what I'm saying is that we don't know if that's completely true. That Coelophysis and Plateosaurus were the life-giving of the evolutionary tree of dinosaurs. We don't know that if that's true or not. So,
have you seen a picture of either of these creatures?
What's true?
Of Coelophysis and
Plateosaurus.
Yeah,
So
I get you.
Kind of iffy for
When
could you move closer?
I am my mic piece is right next to my mouth, buddy. I can't get any closer.
Okay.
We might have to just turn him up. But when you think of what they would look like, think of just the most basic dinosaur designs ever, and that's basically what they look like.
Again, then I'll think of it.
Coelophysis and Plateosaurus.
Coelophysis sounds like a tiny raptor.
You're not wrong.
You're not that far off, actually.
It's like a it's like a long raptor and skinny and
it's
thin.
Bigger than a copy. It's a little bigger than Velociraptor
Actually,
would have been.
No, you know what? No, actually, think of a copy but scaled up.
Yeah, think of kind of. Think of how big you think a Velociraptor is. Not how big they actually are. About how big you think they are, but it looks like a Procompsognathus or something. Like it,
I don't know what that
Who's gonna know what a Procompsognathus is?
Do you know what a Compsognathus is?
I study World War II. I don't study this.
A compy. It looks like a compy, but big.
Okay. I study history.
Anyways, during the Triassic, there were some major competitors. Andrewsarchus being one of them.
You didn't hear that.
I think it was Andrewsarchus, wasn't it? No, Andrewsarchus.
The Triassic
in the background.
I can't hear it now.
I said, did you, not can you?
No.
Okay, good.
The Triassic period, since this was when dinosaurs basically just starting out, they definitely weren't the kings of the world. They were still
finding
they were still prey. Even something like Coelophysis that would have been carnivorous would still be prey to something.
But anyways, basically during the Triassic, there was a big competitor, which was Postosuchus. And one actually interesting fact about Postosuchus, walking with dinosaurs, they depict Postosuchus walking on all fours. That is actually now wrong. Postosuchus actually had the muscle strength to walk on two legs, its hind legs.
I believe... Was this the time period that Facilosuchus existed?
Sorry. Somebody just called me.
You're good.
I know your computer has virus.
Did this may have existed prior. Did Facilosuchus exist at this time? I think that was late Triassic, right?
Facilosuchus.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm checking.
Facilosuchus was a carnivore that was pre Jurassic, definitely. I think it was late Triassic. It was
okay. So
it was the apex of its area.
It was
at the time.
The end of
area.
the late,
oh my god!
It was at the end of the late Triassic.
Yeah. It was like the Facilosuchus would have been like one of the last of the great predators that were not dinosaurs yet.
Dinosaur.
It was quadrupedal, which is weird to think about for some people, that like a big apex predator would be quadrupedal at that time, but it was. It was
what
like
is quadrupedal? For me
4
and
legs.
viewers. Okay.
Quadrupedal means it has 4 legs. If we say something is bipedal, it has 2.
Okay, I just realized. I forgot that Facilosuchus is now becoming such popular in social media now.
Facilosuchus like
Facilosuchus
blew
is now
up
an
after.
arc.
Is it an arc?
Yeah, it's an arc. It's an arc survival ascended on Scorched Earth.
I didn't know that. There
Also, apparently, it made an
Facilosuchus
appearance
is kind
in.
of.
Apparently, it made an appearance in '65.
I like how Luna's been describing all these dinosaurs to me to make sure I know what they are.
Yeah, I'm trying to describe them so you can picture what it looks like. In '65, it is the quadrupedal T-Rex. That's what people are saying is Facilosuchus, despite the fact that the creators of the movie just messed up and made a T-Rex with 4 legs.
It's like,
but
cut out. I heard Drake start laughing and it got out.
Facilosuchus, it was kind of like a Komodo dragon mixed with a bear, is the best way to explain it. Like it had very, yeah, with like a bear. It was very large, had very long legs.
I don't think I want to live in the Jurassic period. Not Jurassic. This is what, Triassic?
Well, I was going to say that's good news because this isn't the Jurassic period yet.
It's late Triassic. It was at the end of the. It was literally like.
I don't think I
like
want
100 million years.
We're almost to Jurassic.
My favorite time.
We're almost to Jurassic. We're getting close.
Yes. We're getting very close.
Jurassic potatoes.
But yeah, when things like
are there 4 periods? Triassic.
There's 3: Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous.
Before we move on to the Jurassic, should we talk about the sea life in the late Triassic?
We can talk about the sea life, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about the sea life real quick in the
I feel like I'm like a medium.
Triassic. So the sea life in the Triassic era was really experimenting. I believe
it was very like shellfishy. You had things like you had things like ammonites, and I believe this is when urchins really became a thing.
Ammonites. So it sounds like bugs.
No, ammonites is like a it's that like little squid you see with like the really coiled up shell.
Yeah, ammonites were becoming quite popular, or starting to become something.
A nautilus.
Yeah, nautilus shell. That belonged to a creature called an ammonite. They were not very big. They were like beach ball sized, probably.
Just imagine punching around a little squid.
I'm busy. Give me a minute. I have to grab something. Give me just a second, guys.
Oh, okay. I'm currently looking up the.
I'm learning a lot. I'm going to have the biggest headache after this.
So some of the marine reptiles that were during the Triassic era was Nothosaurus.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Is the Mozo a Jurassic or Cretaceous?
I think Moza is Cretaceous.
Yes. Nothosaurus was another marine reptile. It was in the mid to late Triassic. Which was basically think of it as like a prehistoric seal.
The sea, well, the not quite sea life, I guess, but the like semi-aquatic life at this time would have been like your earlier crocodilians, so that it looked like a crocodile, but like if a kid drew it. Like it wouldn't have the refined details and stuff that your modern crocodilians
we can't
have.
forget about the largest ichthyosaur. That
The
was in the
ichthyosaurs.
the ichthyosaurs.
Ichthy. Fuck is itch?
You can pronounce it however you want.
Yeah,
Mo, do you know what an ichthyosaur is?
I know what an
Ichthyos.
ichthyosaur is.
Yeah.
Okay,
But we
for
can't
the
forget
audience,
about the largest one, the Shanosaurus or Shanisaurus.
Shanisaurus.
Do not ask
Shaniosaurus.
what I'm doing.
Shaniosaurus. Fuck it.
Shoni? Shonisaurus?
Shonisaurus. God, I don't know why I struggled with that one.
I don't know why you're having
Seem
so
to
much
be
trouble
struggling a
with
lot.
dinosaur names today.
I don't know. I'm excited.
It's okay, Drake. Calm down. Breathe.
Like, you never have this much trouble.
I know. I'm usually spot on with my dinosaurs. Well, this is
Yeah.
marine reptiles we're talking about.
That's true. These animals are going to be like you're very like precipice of Jurassic, but not quite there. Like we're
Yeah.
still in Triassic. This is when like evolution with dinosaurs and that type of sea life is still figuring it out. It hasn't quite got what it wants, but you'll see things later develop common traits. So like it's starting to figure out where things are going.
So I guess now we're moving on to the Jurassic.
Yeah, we can move to early Jurassic.
Early Jurassic. All right. So
This is when most people's knowledge of dinosaurs will come in.
yes, this is where people would be like, "Oh, I know that." So we're now moving on to the Jurassic period. The what Mo said his favorite era. This is the Age of the Titans. That's why I'm taking it. I've taken the title from Walking with Dinosaurs. The Jurassic era was the Age of the Titans. This is where dinosaurs really peaked. This is where they were really starting.
This is where they
divide and conquer.
This is where evolution figured out, okay, I know what a dinosaur is, now let's get weird. And so you start getting dinosaurs with some weird traits. Things like Dilophosaurus existed at this time, with its goofy Elvis crests, and you got some weird shapes with dinosaurs now, but they were still, like, you could tell it's a dinosaur.
Debatable.
This is also where most of your like misconceptions about dinosaurs will come in. Like thanks to things like Jurassic Park, people think that Dilophosaurus can like spit venom like a cobra, and they really couldn't do that.
There's also no evidence of Dilophosaurus having a frill.
Yeah, they don't have the same
they don't have that frilled lizard thing.
Yeah, there are lizards nowadays that exist. The name is slipping my mind, but there's like a really famous one. They don't have that like bone structure. Is it just called a frilled lizard?
It's just called a frilled lizard.
Well, Dilophosaurus, so far that we've found, does not have the bony like protrusioniness needed to support a frill like shown in Jurassic Park. Since no 100% complete fossil has ever been found, we can't for sure say it didn't, but it probably didn't.
Yeah.
It also didn't spit venom. There were no, like, in its skull, there's no, like, there's no passage for venom.
There was no venom glands discovered in the fossil. So
there's nowhere for venom to be. So the frills on its head were likely like a kind of like in birds, it'd be like a sexual display kind of thing. It'd be very brightly colored and very like pompadour-esque, like that. That's how the males will like show their stuff. Like, this is what I've got to offer. I've got such powerful genetics. He'd have a very brightly colored, very big crest. On his very goofy shaped face.
Trying to remember a dinosaur,
That thing's
but
just
I'm currently
goofy.
struggling how
Nothing,
to
no
spell its name.
context.
What'd you say, Mo?
The Dilophosaurus is just goofy. There's no thoughts behind that. It's just there.
Yeah.
That's just there to exist at that point.
Dilophosaurus is one of those dinosaurs that just always has some sort of like inaccuracy about it. Another inaccuracy, thanks to Jurassic Park, is the size of Dilophosaurus.
It's
Wasn't
actually
it,
This
like,
is
really
when dinosaurs. This is when dinosaurs were starting to get big. We weren't at like our giants yet, but they were getting big. A Dilophosaurus would be well over 6 feet tall at this point. So I can't think of another dinosaur you would know to relate it to, but like it was sizable. It'd be like probably almost 2,000 pounds. It'd be big. Whereas in
It
Jurassic
would be
Park,
a big boy.
it's like dog sized in Jurassic Park. Animals of this time are bigger than most people think they would be, which is interesting because animals of the Cretaceous are smaller than most people think they would be. I mean, they're still huge, but not as big as you'd imagine them to be.
This makes a lot of sense, actually.
Ah, damn it.
But this is
I
when
bet
you get
can't guess what I'm doing currently.
Sitting.
I hopefully looking stuff up for the podcast.
That's not what I'm doing
The
at all.
in evolution with dinosaurs at this time period, this is when things get really, really weird looking, where you get things that
I'm gonna
were
go to
only
the bathroom.
partially
I will
covered
be
in.
right back.
Okay. But for the audience, this is when your dinosaurs are going to get weird looking. You've got like big frills that you don't really see later on, and you'd have like things only partially covered in proto feathers, which is basically hair, but not completely. Like it'd just be on like its back or something, or just its head, like the back of its head. Like it'd be in weird spots. It wouldn't be the entire animal like you'd expect it to be out of like a velociraptor or something. Drake, did you have any input on Dilophosaurus specifically, since that's the dinosaur topic?
There's still a huge debate on Dilophosaurus having any kind of form of proto-feathers. Maybe, in my part. I don't want to get too carried away in saying that it did, because there are any paleontologists that end up watching this topic. I'm pretty sure they'll gladly correct us if any issues we've said anything in the comments down below. But
I hope people do correct us.
It just means
that's how
it just means
that's how science works. You get reviewed by peers.
But anyway,
like if somebody knows for a fact we're wrong, correct us.
Yeah. For instance, Luna, one of my most favorite dinosaurs, you know this because I've talked about it several times. The Cryolophosaurus was in the early Triassic or early Jurassic.
Yeah.
So, Cryolophosaurus, Cryolophosaurus, that's how you say it. Which also means frozen crested lizard or Elvis crest. Cryolophosaurus was one of the first dinosaurs that was discovered in Antarctica. And yes, people, there were dinosaurs in Antarctica. This was basically the time where dinosaurs were really conquering the world. No,
this is where we like.
I also totally forgot that the Permian and late or early Triassic, all the continents were collided in one. It was called Pangea.
Yeah, Triassic is when we have Pangea, and then Jurassic is when things started to...
I might be wrong about that, actually. Hang on.
I'm pretty confident that's correct. I believe the Jurassic is when things started to like spread out, and you would have had probably 3 or 4 continents at the time, which is why you start to see some variety in like creatures throughout the world. They wouldn't all have the same trends that they did in the Triassic. The discovery, when they discovered Cryolithosaurus, is when that's when we really started to open up about the idea of dinosaurs potentially being warm-blooded and not just cold-blooded. Because the Arctic has always been really cold. Like, it was never... Well, I don't want to say never, but at the time, it wasn't like an arid desert or anything. Like, it would have been chilly. And so dinosaurs would have had to be warm-blooded in some capacity to not just die immediately.
Mm-hmm. Right here. Pangea was a supercontinent that existed during the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras. It is a symbol for the earlier continental units, Gondwana. Fucking Christ. Carbon was approximately 335 million years ago, and they began to break apart about 200 million years ago at the end of the Triassic and the beginning of the Jurassic era.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
yeah, the not only did Cryolophosaurus
slightly right. It's when it was still Pangea, but at the end of the Triassic is when it started breaking up.
Yeah. The early Jurassic is when you would have had like distinct continents that existed, but they wouldn't have been super far away. Like you didn't really have oceans yet, I don't think. Not like you would know an ocean today. Like you're not gonna have a Pacific Ocean.
Luna, I'm stupid.
What happened?
I'm stupid. So, remember when I said that there was that extinction where there was volcanic eruptions everywhere, earthquakes and all that during the Permian era?
Yes.
That's when, because of that mass extinction, that's when it all started spreading out. It was the Earth deciding to change. That's when Pangea started splitting off to all these different continents. So
that makes sense.
There you have it.
Or back to what I was saying before, with the discovery of Cryolophosaurus and other dinosaurs of that time period, we figured out they were getting big before we thought they were prior. Cryolophosaurus is another dinosaur about the same size as Dilophosaurus, actually. They would have been big, but not like Cretaceous big. They would have been, like, compared to what dinosaurs had been up to that point, they were giants of their time.
So
you'd have animals that are 6-ish feet tall.
With Cryolophosaurus, yes, since Cryolophosaurus lived in Antarctica, this is when we kind of discovered that maybe Antarctica had a climate change, like summer and fall, winter, all that. So, and this is just purely speculations. We don't actually fully know about it. That's with everything. When it comes to prehistory, we don't know all the facts. So with Cryolophosaurus,
where are we at?
We're currently on the topic of Cryolophosaurus, my favorite dinosaur, because it's in the early Jurassic.
Jurassic. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're still early Jurassic. You didn't miss too much.
You haven't missed too much. You did just miss us talking about Pangea, the supercontinent.
I think Pangea is a really close concept, though.
Are you familiar with Pangea?
Yes. The first major continent before the Great Continental Divide.
It wasn't just like in concept. Like Pangea existed, and then that first
if you move, oh my gosh, you sound like every flat earther.
I was gonna say he's
Hey,
being
covered
flat
by
Earth
glass
devil's advocate.
dome, guys. Don't listen to me.
Anyways,
Ignore me.
Pangaea was a supercontinent, and when the Permian era had its the mass extinction, all volcanoes erupted all at once, causing massive earthquakes and causing
This is
the
one of the great extinctions, isn't it?
yes, this is one of the great extinctions. Yes, because of that great extinction, it broke Pangea into several pieces, basically splitting them off and drifting them off away. This was basically Earth doing another change, and we wouldn't see another change like this for a long time. For instance, the Ice Age.
Yeah.
Now, people have said that the meteorite that crashed into Earth 65 million years ago did cause another change, but I wouldn't really say that. I don't know.
It didn't shape the land. It shaped the fauna and flora on the planet.
Yeah.
But like the stones of the ground didn't change that much compared to previous
Maybe where the
extinctions.
impact crater was, but besides that.
Yeah.
But anyways, with Pangea now kind of splitting off because of one of the great extinctions. This gave way to the possibility of dinosaurs starting to evolve onto different continents, such like Antarctica, and that's where we're kind of at right now with Krylosaurus on Antarctica, and how Antarctica back then most likely wasn't just ice and snow and all of that. It had seasons, summer, winter, fall, spring, and and possibility dinosaurs migrated with the seasons changing. So, yeah. With Krylosaurus being in such a interesting climate, there could have been a possibility that maybe Krylosaurus had some kind of form of proto-feathering that covered its body to keep its body temperature warm. But like what Luna said, that it could have been a possibility that dinosaurs, with this, it might have been that dinosaurs might have been actually warm-blooded than cold-blooded. Now, there are a few signs of like cold-blooded being almost like warm-blooded. For instance, birds are cold-blooded, but they are also warm-blooded in kind of a way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's and then we also know that birds are one of the closest living relatives of dinosaurs right now, because of bone structure. And I mean, if you look at a falcon, you cannot say that looks like a raptor.
Yeah, you can. You can just be really annoying about it.
A thing that I just thought of that Mo wasn't here for. You heard me mention that the early Jurassic is when dinosaurs started getting kind of weird. But you didn't hear me elaborate on that. This is when things like proto-feathers and frills and all that started to really...
Crests.
Not only did they appear, they became the trend. Like, Dilophosaurus is... he has 2 frills and possibly proto-feathers on parts of his body. And he was a little bigger than...
Crest.
He was taller than...
Crest.
What did I say? Frills?
You said frills.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, they were definitely like bony crests. It was not like a soft tissue. But he not only did he have that, but like he was over 6 feet tall, and this is like significant because Dilophosaurus is in what is today North America, whereas roughly at the same time you had Krylosaurus, which also had bony crests and things like proto-feathers and being over 6 feet tall in a completely different part of the world. Like, these things just became the trend of nature at the time.
Yeah. So, and yeah, we'll have Krylosaurus being in like a close league with like what Dilophosaurus is, like that the distinguishing crest, and having maybe some kind of form of proto-feathering to maybe keep it warm and all of that. And and Mo, you're probably hearing us saying proto-feathers a lot. Do you know what proto-feathers are?
That's all I.
So proto-feathers is like basically what it stands for. It's an earlier form of feathers.
They'd be closer to like a hair if you touched it, like a fur sort of, but still feathery.
It's kind of like
Like
what a baby chick has.
it'd still be in quills. Yeah, like a chick, like downy feathers. It'd be like
Yeah.
that. They'd be very fuzzy.
And you know those very large, basically like those like overlapping scales on like a chicken's or a bird's feet. Did I lose you guys?
Okay, I'm
Lost
still
me
here.
A minute ago.
Oh, okay. You know those overlapping scales on like a bird's feet?
They have scales on their feet.
Look up a picture of a bird's foot,
Yeah.
like a chicken foot specifically.
They look like scales that are overlapping. It's the only way I can like describe it. Like it looks like scales.
Sort of like a like armor plating. Think of like
Yeah.
medieval armor. It'd overlap plates like that.
So if I remember correctly, those are also a
I
form
search
of
up chicken
proto
feet. I get a whole like dish recipe.
That's funny.
I forgot about that.
I forgot
those
that
are
edible.
chicken feet soup is a thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, those overlapping scales basically are another form of proto feathering. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yes,
I see what you're
there's
talking Overlap.
there's a documentary from when Drake and I were kids that had Jack Horner in it quite a bit
Mm-hmm.
when they were playing with the idea of genetics, and they came up with these two concept dinosaurs, quote unquote, which is your Chickensaurus and your Emusaurus.
Oh yes,
Um,
the Chickenosaurus. I have
they
that
they
book
mention
somewhere.
in that documentary they mention how they can like manipulate the genes within the embryo, and it would
and
it'd
force
show that
out
this
dormant and force out
Yeah.
dormant genes such as like
one of which is the
tail,
feathering of the feet.
the feathering and all that. But anyways, yes, proto featherings is definitely this is where it was basically the beginning of proto featherings and feathers and all of that. For instance, still we don't know if Dilophosaurus or Cryolothosaurus or any other late Jurassic dinosaurs had these. We just don't have the evidence.
We know some things at this point did. We don't know that they specifically did.
Exactly. And now I guess we are moving on to mid to late Jurassic. This is the big boys. This is where the Titans were starting to grow.
Yeah, this is where things not quite.
But we
This
do
is
get
when-
the earliest T-Rex. We get
the earliest.
Proceratosaurus and Guanlong.
These would be your earlier
Fun fact about a game.
Tyrannosaurus.
These are
Yes.
like T-Rexes before they had two fingers.
Do you know
Yeah.
Jurassic World
Yes.
is a mobile game?
Yes.
In that, they picture Guanlong as a raptor instead of a Rex.
Well, Guanlong is actually the early, or actually Coelophyte, or not Coelophyte. Oh my gosh, Proceratosaurus. It is the earliest discovery of Tyrannosaurid. Purely because I think it was because of the bone structure or something. How it's how they could tell by the hand wise. They see that the was it the third finger is shorter than the other two.
Yeah.
And when Guanlong came out, Guanlong actually almost doesn't have a third finger, and that's when they discovered that Proceratosaurus and Guanlong are actually related or distant relations from each other, And that's
Like
how they
cousins.
knew that Proceratosaurus ended up evolving into Guanlong, and then Guanlong eventually evolving into what we now know as Tyrannosaurus Rex.
This is the mid to
Big
late
T.
Jurassic is also when things started to like at this time. Well, before this, oxygen from the first like extinction event, oxygen like burned up in the atmosphere, and so things got really small. And then it came back, but like way more than it needed to. So you've got animals getting huge again. This is
Round
like
two.
at it,
Round
yeah.
two.
We're talking about the
In
big men, the
in
Titans.
the early Jurassic, you had like something huge was like Dilophosaurus. Now that we're in late Jurassic, you have things even bigger. You have Ceratosaurus and stuff like that, which is just huge compared to Dilophosaurus. Like now we're getting sizable.
We're getting
Yeah,
up in the big leagues here.
we're not. Yeah, we're getting to the Titans basically. This is where dinosaurs got big, and now we're talking about like Brachiosaurus, Apatosaurus, Diplodocus, Allosaurus, Tarbosaurus, Ceratosaurus. What's another one? Trying to think of Brontosaurus. And yes, Brontosaurus is one of those very few cases where it's still in huge debate on if it actually exists. So
This time period is where you have like sauropods that are getting like mind-blowingly large, and so you see
Too
the
large, matter
starts
of fact.
the starts of animal like of predators start to get kind of smart to figure out how to take something like that down. So you see like early packs forming. You'd see like one or two or like two animals together. And this is also a time period when animals started to get mean. They started to think of ways like to kill something over time, not just all at once. So you've got
Like,
things that are you're forming very blade-like teeth because things are
wasn't
getting
this like
big.
the
You're
beginning of like hunting, kind of? Stop.
no, well, maybe stop. No, not quite. That would have existed. This is when things started like sauropods and prey animals started to get really big, and so these carnivores they're like, okay, these guys are too big for us to bring down physically, so we've got to play the long game. So you've got carnivores like Allosaurus, Ceratosaurus,
okay,
and stuff like that are yes.
Just no.
yeah, like I just figured out what that last dinosaur was. I was trying to name is it's Megalosaurus. Now,
Oh yeah.
here's a really fun fact about Megalosaurus. Megalosaurus was depicted really differently back in I believe it was 1888 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I think the early I think it was 1888. I could be wrong about that, but anyways, Megalosaurus was depicted as a four-legged, gigantic, horned reptile. Its depiction is because when the fossil was discovered, they accidentally mixed it up with iguanodon.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you look up Megalosaurus, you can see a depiction of it. It's literally a four-legged giant lizard with teeth. The reason why is because they didn't know how bones worked. Okay. It was 1854.
Yeah, they didn't quite figure out how bones connect, really.
Yeah. So now Megalosaurus looks tremendously different. It's not a fairly large carnivore, but it's up there. But because of that, Megalosaurus looked really different, and Megalosaurus is actually a descendant of one of the most fearsome carnivores during the Jurassic period, Tarbosaurus, which There is actually fossil records of Tarbosaurus actually competing with Allosaurus.
Yeah, that would that makes sense. Back to what I was saying before. This is when you see behavioral changes in dinosaurs. You see packs and family groups start to like stick together. They're not. It's
Supposedly.
not like
Supposedly. There's no fossil
yeah.
record.
This with some creatures at least. This is when things realize, hey, our food's getting too big. We can't take it down alone. Or even just like solo going creatures, they realize that they need other ways to bring an animal down. And so animals are getting meaner and they're developing other ways to kill. So you've got blade like teeth, you've got very long, sharp claws. Because if you're not strong enough to take an animal down, you can bleed it to death. And so you're getting things that are very efficient at slicing things open. And so you'll see there's fossil evidence of like scars left behind by like Allosaurus and stuff that are so deep it's to the bone. Like these things are wounding to play the long game. You're also not getting like sprint carnivores anymore. Like things are slowing down. They're going to be fast enough to catch the animal initially and attack, and then it's going to pull back. It knows it'll die. It doesn't need to run fast. It's got time. It's got to save its energy for when some other lazy carnivore is going to come and try to fight him for the kill. So you see things that are very big and kind of slow compared to what they used to be, but we're not like... It's still outrunning people. Like, they're still quick enough to be a threat to most things. You're good.
Okay.
Things are... They're still big and fast enough to be threats. And so you see a lot of like gigantic like scars in some fossils, like several feet and meters long, of things just maiming each other because they gotta eat, they gotta kill. And you also see the start of things not waiting for death to start eating. You see things that
and
yes.
And now, and since you're on that, since carnivores were getting more aggressive and more meaner, we now have a new branch of dinosaurs evolving, the armored dinosaurs, like Stegosaurus.
Anki
doesn't come out till like
we're not there yet.
Like Cretaceous.
You're along the right track, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, so we got like the armored armored dinosaurs like Stegosaurus, Kentrosaurus.
Wait, Stegosaurus?
Yeah, Stegosaurus is an armored is an armored dinosaur, and is one of the earliest of I think they're slightly related to Ankylosaur, by like millions of years, but
this is when because of the evolution of like cutting things up to really bring it down, the herbivores on the other side of the coin are developing armor so that it's harder to cut them up.
Like, for instance, the Stegosaurus is Thagomizer, and there is still the talk about what Stegosaurus's dorsal plates were even used for, mating display, either temperature regulation. We do know that the dorsal plates do have vein lines and vein indents in the bones, so we know that they were able to have blood go through those dorsal plates. Now, it could have been for temperature regulation, it could have been for mating display, or it could have been for intimidation display. We don't know, or it could be all of it.
It could be all of the above.
Now,
this is,
I think, a good depiction of extreme defense would be Kentrosaurus. Kentrosaurus is another dinosaur that is like related to Stegosaurus, but instead of having those dorsal plates, it chose spikes.
this
We're
is
talking about that one Stegosaurus species that like spikes on its back.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
This is along what I was about to talk about. Not only did animals start forming defensive plates, they started to fight back. This is why you have things like early ceratopsians with horns. You have things like Stegosaurus and even sauropods.
Hang on. I don't think we had ceratopsids in the Jurassic era.
None. I thought late Jurassic was the start of ceratopsians. You definitely didn't have Triceratop. That'd be late. But yeah, things were having like armor and weapons, like Stegosaurus with its big spiky tail and things that would be related to what would become Ankylosaurus are going to have like clubs, and even sauropods like Diplodocus are going to have insanely long whip-like tails that they can use to really.
Is like my favorite sauropod.
They're gonna use these traits to fight back against the carnivores to sort of protect themselves. We're past the days of just running away in hopes and praying that this thing leaves me alone. This is when things are taking a stand and fighting back against the carnivores.
Feels like protesting is coming.
Kinda.
I protest you to not. I protest thou not to meet me.
Let me look something up real quick. But yeah, like every animal really on like in this time period it was no longer about just surviving. Now it's like we're past like just hunting and killing immediately. Now we've got to fight. Now a meal is an event. Like, it takes effort. Way more than it did before. Things are no longer running away. Things are now going to try to kill you back. And that becomes even more prevalent once you get to the Cretaceous period, where weapons get more refined. And this is the start
actually
of...
getting more, like... They're evolving more than humans did. That's what this sounds like.
Okay, so the earliest... Apparently, the earliest ceratopsian in the late Triassic, or the late Jurassic era, is Yenlong.
Gotcha.
It's like a really, really tiny version of.
Yeah.
Triceratops.
Not Triceratops. It's smaller.
It probably
than,
wouldn't have had horns yet.
What is that dinosaur called? I always keep forgetting what that one is called.
It's
is it a Protoceratops?
Not a Protoceratops. Before that, oh god, what is it? Psittacerata. Oh my god! Psittaceratosaurus.
Gotcha. What was I talking about? I was on a thought train telling Mo something, and I lost it.
Lost your train of thought.
But yeah, the late Jurassic is when things started to really. It was no longer about like be prey or be predator. Now you're fighting back. They're trying to.
It's the
I remember what it was. It was about evolution. It's not that dinosaurs evolved more than humans did. Dinosaurs existed for a very, very long time, and most people don't realize that. Dinosaur fossils existed when dinosaurs walked on Earth. They existed that long. Like, hundreds of millions of years.
Alright. Well, I think we got our major topics over on the Jurassic era, right?
I believe so. I think we're ready for Cretaceous.
I think we're ready for Cretaceous.
We're going past Cretaceous, or we're gonna stop at Cretaceous?
What?
We're talking about like dinosaurs, so I mean, there's nothing after Cretaceous we could talk about.
We can talk about her.
We could, I
But
mean, we could talk
anyways,
about dinosaurs in media, I guess, but dinosaurs end with Cretaceous.
yeah. So now we're moving on to the
Aw.
Cretaceous era, early Cretaceous. Now, early Cretaceous, we're still getting the leftover remains of the Jurassic era. So you're still going to see some earlier forms of maybe like some Allosauridae or like Ceratosaurids, some leftover sauropods. Um, Nothing too major. I do believe we start seeing a new genus called the Carcharodontosaurids.
I will be right back. I gotta call one of my friends real quick. Because wanted me to call. I'll just be like 2 seconds.
Do what you
Bro,
gotta
we're in
do.
the middle of a podcast. God damn it.
You're
Um,
fine. Oh no, man, he
but
responded.
yeah,
You know, keep talking. Good.
the Cretaceous is when we have animals really, really getting big, like several tons of just meat.
like like the
Um,
Mass.
Carcharodontosaurids and now our new species of Tyrannosaurids are now making their grand stand.
yeah, this is past when. So we have in the Triassic, you have predators focusing on chasing things down and just being able to bring it to the ground. In the
Yes.
Jurassic, we have things developing armor due to animals being able to like cut them up. And
Yeah,
so we get to the Cretaceous,
and now
and now
we're
we
getting
bring
the
another like even further evolution to combat, and that's the ability to crush.
yes, or bone
That's
breaking, in
to
other words.
yeah, to disregard the plates and get to the gooey center of the Tootsie Pop, basically. Um,
This
this
is
is
where
where
Alive.
dinosaurs are wanting to be able to cripple their prey or predator instead of stabbing and tearing them apart. This is where they are literally. This is like the equivalent of like uh, during medieval times forming the mace or like the shield.
Her.
basically this
Yeah.
What
is
was that noise
where
I just made?
the Cretaceous, um, if you just like if we talk about it all at once, this is where you're getting your Tyrannosaurs, like Tyrannosaurs and Carcharodontosaurs and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
this is
which is
like
just
this is where they're like forming the bone breaking abilities. It's just like oh you just worked your way up on the skill tree. Now you're able to unlock bone break.
yeah. These are things that would be able to apply such force with their jaws that it wouldn't register to a human being. It would be so much you wouldn't feel it.
Yeah,
It would be like, for example, Tyrannosaurus, because now that we're in Cretaceous, we can talk about the T Rex.
yes.
It had like it's something insane, like the equivalent of dropping a truck, like a semi, on you or something with bite force.
I think I can
And
look it up actually. The PSI level of a T Rex's bite.
oh, I'm sure it's something like 14,000 or something insane.
Besides, the two feet
It
up front smacking you in the fucking face.
it the T Rexes like predators like that, they would be so heavy and have such bite force that if it gets to you, it's over. It doesn't even need like a good bit of you. Yes.
Tyrannosaurus Rex has the estimated bite force of 13,000 psi. That is basically the equivalent of 431,342 pounds per square inch of pressure.
Yeah. Like it doesn't need the teeth to kill. It's that much force.
Okay, so the bite force of a Tyrannosaurus Rex was around 800,000 pounds, but the tips of
A lot.
the teeth could exert up to 4,000 or 431,342 pounds per square inch of pressure. This pressure is comparable to one 1/128 of the estimated pressure of at the center of the Earth.
Nice.
It is much stronger than a hydraulic press used to crush a car, which uses 2,000 psi.
Yeah. The in media, they don't portray T-Rex as being as strong as it was, but they portray it as being bigger than it was.
A great example, you know, when the T-Rex bites down on the Spinosaurus's neck in the third Jurassic Park movie, that should have been done. It should have been dead.
Well, it should be dead. It's gone. Next snap.
If a fight between a Spinosaurus and which also existed at this time, I believe, a Spinosaurus and a T-Rex happened, the Spinosaurus would need to not get touched, because if the T-Rex gets to it, it's over.
Just flicks it, it just falls over.
We had just now reached the 2-hour mark of our podcast.
Holy shit. Our podcast like 3 to 4 hours long.
Depends on who you're watching.
Yeah, depending on who you're watching. We are doing a topic of all 3 periods of the Mesozoic era.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time.
So I give us another 30 minutes before I say we will call it.
Okay.
It gives us enough time to talk about the Cretaceous and wraps it up.
The T-Rex it's like, this is also when teeth stop being blade-like, because you don't need to cut things anymore.
More banana.
You're gonna get banana is a good way to describe it. They get more banana shaped, very very large, and not like more spike like, and not so much blade.
They're straight and then they curve.
Yeah, they no longer. Well, that's on the big side of things. If we go to the small side with your raptors and stuff, things are getting even more blade-like. So, you're getting teeth that curve in to keep things in the mouth, and you're getting ways around that armor plating in the form of the sickle claw. Yeah. You no longer need to rely on your hands and teeth. Now you've got feet.
Yeah. And now we're going to move on to the topic of now branching species, such as like dromaeosaurids and such as others creatures like the ceratopsians.
Now, Hadrosaurs too.
Or the Hadrosaurs, yes. Hadrosaurs have now made a grand appearance of being able to be basically the staple of the prime food source. This is what carnivores would have hunted the most because of easy prey or
quick question.
What?
What's your question?
Wasn't the I forgot the whole name. Shantugonosaurus, I think. Wasn't that the biggest one?
Yes.
Pretty sure? Okay,
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
The Edmontosaurus second.
The Shantosaurus is one of the largest. Hadrosaurs.
Like the Edmonto is second.
The Cretaceous is when, like, obviously fighting and killing is getting more effective, but this is also just when genetics get more effective. You have animals way different than
outrun
others.
Their predators.
You'd have, whereas in the Triassic and Jurassic, things tended to have a similar look, regardless of where you were on the planet, whereas in the Cretaceous, things are very different. Like, a T-Rex is not just a big velociraptor. They were... things were very different, and even, like, not just predators. Like, clearly, I know predators most. I'm an expert in African predators. But, like, even herbivores were very different. You have ceratopsians, you have things like Ankylosaurus, you had things like Parasaurolophus.
I can't say
Parasaurolophus. You have things like Parasaurolophus, and just very, very different shapes of dinosaurs, because the genetics are getting better. Things are going to adapt more to what they need, and no longer just to what will ensure the best survival. Now it's about the best traits to survive over the longest period of time.
This is also like with the Cretaceous period. Now dinosaurs are starting to figure out where they fit in the
oh my god,
the food chain and all that. They're starting to figure out things
Shootout just
other than
happened
hunting
down
and
the road from me.
other things.
Fire. Sorry.
Anyways, like for instance, Parasaurolophus and all those other crested hadrosaurs.
Butchered that name.
What?
Butchered parasol. I can't say it, dude. I'll give up. I give up. I give
What
up
did I
trying to
say?
say it.
I
Parasaur.
think you said
Parallel.
Parasaurolophus.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Parasaurolophus.
Um, yeah, you're.
Parasaurolophus.
I say Saurolophus. It can be whatever.
I
Um,
say what Luna says.
this is a time
Parasaurolophus.
period
It
when
just doesn't sound right. Parasaurolophus is how I know how to say it, and that's how a lot of other say it. Anyways, Parasaur and all those other crested hadrosaurs were starting to form unique ways of communicating and all of that. Like the trumpet sounds and all that. Supposedly is what they sound. But anyways, this was a new way of communicating with each other, and it started showing
Ouch.
how communication was actually pretty important when, especially if one's on the lookout for incoming predators, say like a car dinosaur or whatever, or a pack of raptors or something like that, a large predator. This was them a way for them to communicate with each other, and most likely, like, especially how deers work is that they're. I think the buck is the lookout while the rest are feeding.
that on the in the same vein, that reminds me, you mentioning the raptors. This is a time period when intelligence just blew up.
Exactly.
You
This
have
is where animals are starting to communicate with each other and start forming families.
you've got herbivores in giant
nurture.
herds, and you've got predators being in packs, like raptors being in like several individuals.
Now, this could have also happened in the
Anyway.
Jurassic period. It could have happened. It could have also happened all the way back into the Triassic, but we just don't know.
They would have been.
We have the most fossil discoveries in the Cretaceous era of dinosaurs being nurturing, caring, and commutative.
This is when like things not only would work together, they would raise families. Like I said, the raptors were getting very smart. You'd have things knowing to surround animals, and you'd also, outside of fighting, you'd have things raising families. Stuff like T-Rex and other.
The best fossil is an oviraptor or an oviraptorid laying on a nest, and the way it's positioned, at first, the fossil was depicted as egg thief. That's what it was called, but it actually turns out that those eggs are actually the oviraptor's eggs, and it's just laying on top of them to keep them warm. Especially if you see the way the oviraptor's arms are like bending like a bird's, it shows that it could have had feathers that were covering the eggs to keep their the incubation.
Yeah, you have animals that like not only keeping eggs warm, but I believe there is fossil evidence, at least one, of things as big and vicious as like T-Rex raising their young, maybe not fully to adulthood, but enough to where it could defend itself, and actually like caring for how your children turn out, and they're very family oriented now to make sure that like it's no longer about surviving. Now dinosaurs they're living. They have families. They have probably things they enjoy. There weren't like dumb animals like we used to think. They had very advanced intelligence for the time.
Yeah, and now I'm going to go back to Antarctica now. Antarctica is now changing even more. But it's now starting to become more like how Antarctica is now today, where like there's a small little summer heat, but the rest is winter. Antarctica is now doing that but now there's like I think it was I think there's like what a lot of paleontologists depicted is like there's like 3 to 5 months of summer, and then a full-on year of winter.
It'd be relatively similar in climate to like a today's Alaska.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
God.
so one of my most favorite dinosaurs, Pachyrhinosaurus, the one crest or the nose crest ceratopsid. Pachyrhinosaurus, a lot of new depictions about it has one is, and I love this design, and Prehistoric Kingdom did it, where Pachyrhinosaurus is depicted having a kind of like a woolly coat on it to keep itself warm, and I love that depiction of it.
This sounds like the woolly rhino.
It kind of looks like it, but it's all proto feathering, and the way they described it is like it being having a woolly coat to keep itself warm during the harsh Antarctic winters. And first, there is no proof of it. There's no signs of indentations in the bones having any kind of form of proto feathering, and we just don't know that. It's just a new topic that is just being touched upon right now,
Just being talked about.
and I love it. Especially some of the artworks that some people have done already of a woolly Pachyrhinosaurus. I just love it. It looks so good.
I have a
The
question about
yes.
the asteroid that struck the Earth, actually. I don't know if you guys know
Okay.
about that, but it's also about continental shift during the time. So was that
Okay.
already happening, or did the asteroid cause like a greater continental shift than there already was?
The continents are always moving.
It might have
I know they're always
caused a greater
moving, but-
continental shift. It might have also caused maybe some massive flooding areas, especially that shockwave pushing the ocean against some of the smaller on the coastlines too. It could have done
On our
that.
island.
Yeah, it could have done that, but entirely, there's not really a lot of evidence of no, I keep saying that, but we don't know what the meteorite would have done on the land formations.
The Cretaceous. I just want to make sure I don't forget this point. The Cretaceous being like the most recent time period with dinosaurs. This is also when we start to get fossils that we can tell what the animal looked like. We have things like skin imprints or like bones with indents in them.
Exoskeleton.
Like, this is when we get to things that we can tell and really theorize what this thing looked like down to color. There's I don't remember the species. Drake, you probably do.
Nodosaurus.
Nodosaurus
is the most intact fossil of skin indentation of a dinosaur that we have had.
Is that a
ever.
kind of?
This dinosaur is so intact
Sort of.
that you could actually see the coloration changes in the skin, and we can see the osteoderms, and we can see the roughness, the texture of it, and it's the most accurate dinosaur we can tell now. The second, I believe, is a small theropod, where you could tell by the feathering of its tail changes, and it has rings like a raccoon, and we can tell by it, and we now know that small little theropod has the coloration of orange, brown, white.
It's really weird. Color scheme.
Think of it as like
this
a
is when
red
we
panda.
yeah. There's also like fossils like Microraptor where we can tell A, it had feathers, and B, they were black and like iridescent-y.
Yes. I gotta look that up. How they knew it was that. Micro. Raptor.
What time did we start? Like 3 something?
True
It's been
color.
like 2 hours because I'm on the movie in the background's almost done.
Okay,
It's helping me to gauge time.
the bird-like dinosaur Microraptor wore black with a hint of blue. That means that dinosaur with spread its four wings around and then
Forgetting that.
yeah, right here. How did they discover that it had this coloration? Exactly what color is, but it was close to a raven or a crow, says evolutionary biologist Matthew
Which are both black.
Shockey of the University of Oakland in Ohio. To reveal the ancient creature's shiny tint, the scientists examined fossilized plumage discovered in China. Implants that the feathers revealed pigment-producing bodies called melanosomes.
Melanin?
Okay.
Melanosomes. Okay. That were
Melanescence?
long, narrow, and probably picked together tightly as the modern birds with the black iridescent feathers. Shockey and his colleagues had already used a similar technique to show that another bird-like dinosaur, Archaeopteryx, had black feathers but with no signs of shimmer. Microraptor's extra sheen may have helped the animals attract mates.
Interesting.
Let's for green. Is your
So yeah,
camera on now?
that mellow, whatever, is the new thing they're using to discover dinosaurs' colorations and feathers.
The Cretaceous is also a time period where animals are so big that their fossils are leaving skin imprints. Like we have an imprint of a T-Rex. We don't have like a thing you can hold. It's just like an indentation in the soil. But like we can gather info because these animals were so big, they're leaving behind prints of like weird things that you wouldn't typically see. Similar to like how a person would leave a thumbprint, it'd be like that, but for like its entire side because it's.
Haven't we got
and
like molded out like footprints from them?
Footprints are.
Here's that
Yes.
other dinosaur that we now know its coloration too. The new research on Sinosauropteryx coloring reveals that the feathered dinosaur sported not only a raccoon-like face mask, but also striped patterns on the counter shading. That is a dark black and a light belly. Animals still use that trait today to still camouflage from predator and prey, the researchers said. Far from all being the lumbering prehistoric gray beasts of past children's books, at least some dinosaurs showed sophisticated color patterns to hide from a confused predator, just like today's animals. To decipher Sinosauropteryx's colors, research studied well-preserved fossils of the small theropod, a bipedal meat-eating dinosaur, found in the Jahol biota of China. The scientists' work revealed that the Cretaceous-aged dinosaur had dark-colored feathers on different parts of its bodies, including a striped tail, that researchers said. I could send you guys the quick picture of the fossil.
So what I heard about that
Sure.
technically means the hunting tactics and the distraction tactics for animals haven't really changed that much over the course
Why
of
would they?
evolution.
They work. Why would they change?
I'm just
It's a
saying from a
it's a
standpoint.
similar concept as to why like it's a popular belief that everything turns into crab eventually. That's because it's a very effective body shape. Things are going to be crab-like.
So we're gonna turn into big crabs. We're turning to Mr.
Oh, we're
Krabs.
talking about crabs.
I don't know.
It's unlikely that we will. It's unlikely we'll do that, but yeah,
Where's my money?
things in that vein tend to become crabbish.
Crab.
Only because evolution works based upon what is the most effective thing in nature, and it happens to be those hunting patterns.
Even with the fossil, you can see the difference. You can
Can
see
you?
it. You can see the tail change its coloration.
Oh,
Oh, you're right.
oh yeah.
But yeah, that is one of the fossils that like is the perfect depiction of true
Yeah,
dinosaur
you see it go
coloration.
from black to white, back and forth.
I just remembered a point that I forgot to mention earlier in regards to the behavior of this time period. This is also a time period in which animals will no longer be constantly fighting for food. Like they have figured out that sometimes it is better to live to fight another day. Not every fight is worth it.
Not every dinosaur is depicted as like fighting each other as over a scrap of food. It's not how it works. Unless they were really starving, they would have. But for instance, like Tyrannosaurus wouldn't be constantly picking fights with Triceratops or Ankylosaur or any other kind of large carnivore. They would have rather live to see another day and pass on their gene than end up fighting a Quetzalcoatlus over a scrap of food.
The bigger an animal is, the less likely they were to fight a ton. Something like a T-Rex, to kind of put into perspective as to why we know they didn't fight a lot, is because it was several tons, and as we've proven, has the strongest bite force of anything on land
Like
ever.
literally one half. Oh my gosh, words. 1/128th of the Earth's core pressure.
Yeah, and like with that much weight of the animal and that much bite force, a fight is gonna hurt. And if it's over a scrap of food, is it really worth the fight? Because it's not going to really nourish
really
you that much.
I have another question about actually two things.
What's up?
Would a Rex and a Giga fight, or
No.
were they not in the same general area?
No. Giga lived in a whole different continent, not to mention 100 years before it.
I just wanted to make sure in that part.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a fight that occurred, really. Same with Spinosaurus and T-Rex.
Exactly.
Not really that likely to happen.
Spinosaurus was like probably a few million years before Tyrannosaurus, and again Giga too. Yeah. Tyrannosaurus was one of the last large carnivores.
Yeah. To like most people, when they hear like, oh, it was a million years or whatever, like that seems like a very close amount of time until you put it into perspective. It would be more likely for me today to fight Genghis Khan than it would be for a T-Rex to fight a Giganotosaurus.
Or Spinosaurus, yeah. Or like me fighting
like Alexander the Great. Like it's not. I'd be more likely. Yeah, I'd be more likely to see a saber-toothed tiger than a Spinosaurus would be to see a T-Rex.
Even then, saber-toothed tiger is pulling it tight.
Yeah, like it'd be that far apart.
The perspective of time is really scary sometimes to think about it.
That's another topic for another podcast.
Yeah. That we're probably never gonna do.
Oh, I don't know.
Hey, maybe.
I plan on releasing more podcasts if all of you would participate.
It depends if I'm on, you know.
With things like T-Rex, this is where we get to the end of the Cretaceous and
yes,
the great extinction
yep. And I believe the meteor that impacted the Earth 65 million years ago does have a name now. Let's see.
I believe it starts with an X. It's something really long that I don't know.
It's probably a bunch of
65
numbers. When I think about it.
million
Fun fact: when the meteor hit, it spread so you know how I can tell like the dirt and ashes into the atmosphere and stuff. It also spread a thin layer of a certain material. I forgot what it was called, but this material can be found all around the Earth in like a really thin layer of the crust.
Interesting.
The meteorite is known as the Chick Sol Lab Impactor.
Gotcha.
You're gonna butcher it.
Yeah, I know. I
This-
already butchered it massively. I'm just trying to remember what it was called. It's a C-type meteor or asteroid. It's an asteroid, not a meteorite.
It's people always think that as a meteor because I don't know what it looked like.
This extinction event, which is one of those big extinction events that Drake mentioned at the very beginning.
Massive extinction.
This was one of the second to last extinction.
It killed an insane amount of, like, not just did it kill the dinosaurs, it killed most, like, flora and fauna. It was like 90+% of all life on the planet died. To the point where, like, the planet could...
It's right here. It was also... it is called the Cretaceous Paleogene, the KG or the KPG extinction event, also known as the KT extinction.
Yeah.
Was a sudden mass extinction of 3/4 of the planet and animal species on Earth approximately 66 million years ago. The event caused the extinction of non-avian dinosaurs. Most other pteropods weighed more than yada yada yada. Yeah.
Wait, didn't the asteroid strike on the ocean actually?
So I think that it says where the impact was.
I think it was in like the middle of the ocean at the time, but right now the impact could be around like New Mexico, not Mexico. South
the
America.
KPG extinction.
I don't know exactly like how big it was, but with the size of that meteor and where it struck, this would have been the largest impact Earth has ever seen. Like, if you think of all the damage that had happened...
Oh, right here. This is a great depiction of the... right here, as I was saying, the 5 mass extinctions.
We're at 5 now?
Yeah, there was 5. There was the OS extinction at 455 million years ago. Then there was the late D, which was the late Devonian extinction.
Yeah.
At roughly 3,030 to 35,000 or 3,500 million years ago. Ooh, heartburn. There was the... Ooh, sorry, this heartburn is getting annoying. Ooh, sorry. Then there was the let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was the PTR, which was the Permian Triassic extinction event.
Yeah.
There was the TRJ extinction, the KG or the KPG extinction, and then the Holocene extinction.
What's the Holocene extinction?
Oh, apparently this was the 6th extinction.
Interesting.
What was the Holocene one then?
This is where it was caused by the humans.
That makes sense.
Overhunting
that does
animals.
Make a lot of sense.
For instance, the dodos. The dodos became extinct because of us.
Dodos! No. The dodo's closest relative is actually a pigeon.
agents.
That makes sense. Like I was saying before, the impact of this meteor would have been so like extreme. It would have been like far more than anything Earth has ever like experienced. At least anything we would have experienced. Like you think of like the biggest bombs that have ever gone off, which is the ones at Hiroshima and
The
Nagasaki,
biggest,
or
wrong.
even
The
the
biggest
biggest one
bomb.
to exist,
Oh, you
which
mean
is
bomb? I know
Sarbamba.
that.
I
That's
thought
what
it
I'm
was
talking
the
about.
mother of all bombs.
The biggest bomb is a Russian
I
bomb called the
believe
Tsar
it's the
Bomba,
same
and it
thing.
has. It was tested in to make it the biggest nuclear bomb in the world by Russia, by the way.
The Sarbamba, the effect it would have would be nothing. It'd be minuscule
It'd be
compared to
like
what this meteor
30
did to
times the
the
size of Tsar
planet.
Bomba. 30 times the size, maybe more.
It might be bigger than that. This
But that's what I said, maybe
this
more.
meteor crashing into the Earth was like so impactful. You would be able to see it from space, and like the area around it basically ceased to exist. It had that much force. It's theorized to be the Gulf of Mexico, the impact crater. It's that
Supposedly,
big.
that's where it is.
But don't forget
That's-
continental shift, so it could have changed direction of time.
yeah, but something of that power would have left a severe scar on the planet.
And supposedly it
It is.
did. It's just now it's covered up by rainforests and all that.
water. I say water.
We we as humans also theorize that if we ever were to experience something like that again or anything greater, it would crack the planet in half. It was that
Wait.
severe.
But
That can
anyways,
happen, right?
I think that starts wrapping up our podcast of dinosaurs.
Yeah, that brings
I
us
have a
with.
fact, actually. I have a worse thing. We all know that the Earth's made of two different planets, right? Of two planets colliding.
What?
Pretty sure. Look at something else.
Are you talking about the
People
Big
say that-
Bang?
No, stupid. People
With,
say the Earth is made of two different planets that collided a long time ago.
People
Okay,
say a lot of things.
Yes, I believe that is what we believe in because the moon is the leftover chunk of that other planet. But
This is getting towards like astrophysics.
yeah, this
and
is
stuff
something that
outside of
I'm
us.
not an
Come on,
expert in.
man.
Yeah.
Just,
With
Next time.
with
Next
the
time,
meteor and the end of the dinosaurs, I feel like that's a good place to end the episode.
Yes. So,
Next
if anyone
time on
is
Drake's
still
podcast.
listening to this podcast, this 2-hour and 31-minute podcast,
Very long episode.
thank you for listening to us rant about dinosaurs, and hopefully, if
feels
you
like a
had any
Minecraft
questions about dinosaurs, have been answered right here and now. So I'll do a poll to see what the next podcast topic will be. I think we're going to try to root for a game topic. I think that would be a appropriate topic. That's something we're all an expert in. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us rant about dinosaurs, and we'll catch
Mostly
you guys.
them too, not me. Mostly them too.
We'll see you guys in the next podcast.